Well, welcome to video 3. In the first video, I talked about the great defect of modern education. Subjects sealed off from one another by watertight bulkheads. Students learning everything except the art of learning. And in the second video, I introduced you to The Great Conversation, a 6-year integrated humanities course in which a single cohort of 12 to 16 students reads the primary text of the Western tradition in chronological order, from Genesis to Homer to Lewis, Tolkien, and Solzhenitsyn. In this video, I want to answer the practical questions that must be coming up. Because it's one thing to agree that children need a humane education, but it's another thing altogether to build a school year for a real child in a real family with real limitations. So let me walk you through exactly how this course is going to work. All right. First of all, let's talk about the schedule. This cohort is going to meet with me live online twice a week on Mondays and Wednesdays for about 90 minutes per session. We conduct 2 weekly Socratic seminars modeled on the Hutchins and Adler-Paideia approach. Each year runs about 32 weeks, organized into 4 8-week terms with natural breaks at the regular academic intervals like, Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter, and summertime. Now, 90 minutes twice a week may not sound like much compared to a 7-hour school day, but I'd ask you to consider what actually happens in those 7 hours. Now, it would be distracting to talk about it in this video, but you can watch my 11-minute short film called We've Been Schooled to learn why what happens in those 7 hours actually happens. In short, modern education has succeeded at doing what it set out to do, and that's to occupy the family's valuable time by having students do a lot of busy work because it prepares them to work in an industrialized state. All right. Now, that's it, and not for this video, but in any case, I want to tell you what Hutchins said about it because I think it's a really good quote. He says, "The American scheme of an 8-year elementary school, 4-year high school, and 4-year college with graduate and professional work on top of that is unique in the world, but we can't congratulate ourselves on its uniqueness." What he's saying is there's a lot of time being wasted. Now, in a Socratic seminar, no one gets to hide in the back row. Every student reads, every student reasons, every student speaks. 3 hours of genuine dialectic sustained across 6 years will form a mind in ways that thousands of hours of passive instruction never will. Secondly, let's talk about what our course is going to cover. So this is one integrated course, but it does the work of many courses. Studying the great books in an integrated fashion weaves together literature, history, philosophy, theology, geography, civics, economics, art, music, and architecture, along with some math and astronomy and natural science, all where the tradition itself takes these things up. And it's like when we read the ancients on the cosmos or the early moderns on the new science. And so it's running through all 6 years. We get logic and writing and rhetoric taught not as separate subjects, but naturally and organically through the texts themselves. And so the writing progression is deliberate. Students begin in year 1 with narration and imitation. They're learning, as I frequently tell my students, that good writing is clear thinking made visible. They progress through analysis and argumentation, and then they finish in year 6 with a substantial senior thesis defended aloud before their peers. 6 years of weekly writing under the eyes of one teacher who knows exactly how each student's prose has developed since he was 12 or 13 years old. Thirdly, I want to talk about the credits. Each year of the Great Conversation is technically worth 4 high school credits, and those credits are distributed across humanities: writing and rhetoric, logic, history, civics, theology, and fine arts. Over 6 years, that's 24 credits, which means this one course provides your students complete humanities education. As a parent, all you need to add really is gymnasium or PE, a mathematics sequence, and a laboratory science. Everything else is here, and it's integrated rather than scattered. Now, I want to pause on that point because I've counseled hundreds of homeschooling families, and I know where the burden actually falls. It's not usually the math curriculum that exhausts parents. It's actually finding and coordinating 5 or 6 separate providers, each with its own philosophy, each with its own schedule, each with its own gaps. And as I've been saying, one of the chief weaknesses of modern education is fragmentation. But you see, reality is not fragmented this way. All truth belongs to one truth. A better education helps students see the integrated nature of knowledge. It helps them understand the world as cosmos rather than separated chaos. All right, in the fourth place, let's talk about the reading load. In the first term of year 1, students read maybe 20 to 30 pages a week, which is enough to go slow, to reread, to wonder, to annotate. But the load will grow deliberately each year so that by years 5 and 6, students are reading at a genuine college preparatory pace, probably over 100 pages a week, and handling it with confidence because they were led there step by step. In the great conversation, the student is led, not driven, and I think that's another important thing that we need to think about. Now, the fifth, and what I think is important, is that the teacher and the community matters. Of course, curriculum matters, but curriculum alone is not enough. Education is itself mentorship, it's discipleship, it's transformation, and a child's always being formed. It's just the question is where the formation's happening, who is forming the child and toward what end. For 6 years, your child will be formed in a community of serious-minded Christian peers, reading the greatest books ever written under a teacher who spent more than 30 years in this tradition as a classroom teacher, a pastor, a college professor, a journal editor, and the president of a classical Christian education institute. Now, I'm going to know your child's mind. I'm going to know how he reasons and where he hesitates, what he loves and what she's capable of, and there's no substitute for that kind of continuity. So even though there's some wonderful courses and teachers out there, I would suggest that there's no year-by-year program that can offer what this is going to offer. Now, the last question is, who is this course for? And I'm going to suggest it's for families who are committed to classical Christian education, who want the depth of a great book's formation without assembling it piecemeal. It's for students who are curious, students who ask hard questions and are not content with the surface of things. And I'm going to also say it's for parents who understand that students who take this course are committing to something bigger than their self-comfort or any contemporary convenience. They're committing to the work of securing what we call an ultimate possession. And I'm going to be honest with you, this course is not for everyone. A 6-year commitment is a serious thing, and a student who doesn't want to read should not be made to fill one of these seats. There's better paths for that child, and I'd be happy to help you find that. Now, in the final video, I'm going to extend the invitation. I'm going to share the details of enrollment, the investment, and why this cohort, unlike nearly every other course that you'll ever consider, enrolls only once and then it closes. Look forward to seeing the last video.